And I met one of the quarterbacks, this kid from Jesuit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say their names now or not.
I can say it.
He's got another year in high school.
Yeah.
So he's not coming to, but he's
Will Griffin
early.
is his name.
That's
yeah.
his name. Yeah.
But I can say that because he has committed. So I can say it. Yeah.
Okay.
You maybe can't.
Yeah, I probably can. I mean, there's not many rules right now.
That's okay.
It's hard to break a rule. How do you break a rule?
That is impossible. Yeah.
Back in our day.
Well, we gave him money and we injected it into his veins.
Yeah, back in my day, you couldn't even announce that he's committed until after he signs.
Yeah. Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Coach Spurrier will be in later today to join us again. He's back from his cruise, so we enjoyed that. We'll have a lot of fun with him. Robbie cannot join us for Yes Nowhere, maybe because he is at the beach, and by the sound of him, you don't want him on the air. Calling him last night. But anyway, Jeff Cardozo is going to join us, and we love having Jeff on. I had a great Father's Day. I hope you did too. My wife makes a feast for me that is unbelievable. Started out with crab legs and shrimp, and then went to steak, and come on. Now, I do have a little bit of a meat hangover, though. I will tell you that today. Also, I did get to play golf Saturday with my good friend and Bradford County legends, Dick Smith, Tom Smith, and David Elder. David Elder is truly a legend in Bradford County as a golfer. He clipped me by like 12. I think that's all. Anyway, had a great weekend. I hope everybody else did. Happy Father's Day to everybody, and I hope you guys had a great time, and you deserve it. Let's get to our Royal Blue starting five. It is brought to you by our good friend Randy Royal over there at Royal Blue over in Palatka. Does a great job of getting you in the boat that you want to be in. Royal Blue. Let's get to the first thing, which was recruiting. What a recruiting weekend that Florida had, and I've said this a million times, and I'm going to say it a million more. 3 important buildings in this place. One is the Swamp. One is the Heavener Center, the new facility, and one is Spurrier's Restaurant. And believe me, it paid off again this weekend. And as Florida ends up with several players that we know that have committed, and from what I've been told from sources close to me, they're getting to the point where they're not like taking guys, they're picking guys, and that's what Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, that's what they do. You pick guys. You pick the best players instead of taking guys. Jarraylen McCoy, an edge rusher. It depends on what you want to believe. And again, don't worry about ratings anyway. My feeling is you have to look at whether you believe in the coach or not. That's all you got to care about. If you believe in the coach and you believe in his evaluation, and I will say this, we can argue about the the play calling of Billy Napier, the organization of Billy Napier, which I think is going to get better and has gotten better as he's gone along in the SEC. But you can't argue about his ability to reach out to these guys and evaluate talent. They just keep bringing in talented players, one after another. So Marquise Daniel, wide receiver. Can't wait to see him play. Carson Baker, running back. So, and again, there's more to come, believe me. And when you're picking, that's a great place to be. The way they have done, and again, don't worry about where Florida's ranked. People get so caught up in that, and I do too. And I'll be sitting there going, "Oh, I wonder where they're ranked now. Oh, they only went up 3 spots." Okay, no, don't worry about that. Worry about what your coaches are doing in the evaluation of players, and are they getting it right? Which, as we've seen, all along, Florida's done a great job of that. So that is a strength, I think, of this staff. Evaluation and development. Those are so important, unless you just want to go portal the whole time. Florida's not going portal the whole time. They're going portal a little bit, They're getting good players in here and developing them. I don't think developing is a word, is it? Zach, no? He's going with no. Okay. All right, let's go to number 2 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is we are done. It is the end, my friend, my only friend, as Jim Morrison sang. There is no more college sports that I care about. I don't care about the College World Series. Florida's not in it. But the Gators are done. Track finished up this weekend. They finished 8th. The women finished 8th. The men did not do real well. It felt like a down year for Florida in track. Ooh, they only got 12 national championships. We're not worried about that. Shout out to the Georgia women for winning, and also A&M and USC tied for the national championship. So the SEC just continues to dominate. What do we win in? Basketball, softball, and pretty much every sport. Well, except football. We got to win football now. But they won in track, men's and women's. So that's it. We have no Gator sports to care about for a long time. We will care about, if Ben Shelton gets in the U.S. Open tennis final. If Billy Horschel comes back from his hip surgery and has a great British Open. Things like that we'll care about. But there's nothing to care about. All we care about is that everybody works hard. Everybody works hard and doesn't get in trouble. That's all we care about at this point. All right. Let's go to number 3 on a Royal Blue starting 5, which is a College World Series. And I know we have a game today, 2 games today. It's hard to get into it because I think the biggest issue I have is the villains got all beat Sunday. If you remember last Sunday, we talked about it Monday, but last Sunday was one of the greatest days in Gator baseball history because FSU got eliminated, Miami got eliminated, Tennessee got eliminated. I was happy. I could live with that season. Florida wasn't going anywhere in baseball anyway because they had so many guys hurt. The entire we were talking about this, playing golf the other day with Dick. Dick played for Stetson, and I said, look, anytime you take the middle of the lineup out, you got no chance. You lost your catcher, you lost your shortstop, you lost your second baseman, you lost your center fielder. And they just couldn't, keep replacing them. But anyway, I'm trying to watch it. It's on the second TV in my office, and I do pay attention to it. Do we have a real villain? LSU's a villain, and Coastal's a little bit of a villain, but we kind of manufactured that. I'm just having a hard time getting into it. It's nice on the second TV though, because every once in a while there's a commercial. Especially in the U.S. Open where you had 1 million commercials. It made me miss the Masters, I will say that. All right, let's get to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5, which is the U.S. Open. I do want to talk about that. J.J. Spawn winning. I for some reason, I've kind of gravitated to this guy for the last, month or so. Just watching him play and his attitude, he's kind of low-key. You saw the emotions all come out when he won, making that putt. We'll get to that a little bit later. But it just was it was just so cool, man. I was rooting for him, and then he goes, 5 over after 6 holes, whatever it was. And I'm like, well, I picked the wrong horse. And but I was rooting for him, so I was glad. I was rooting for Adam Scott too, because my wife, like every wife, loves Adam Scott. Yeah, I don't look like that. I'm sorry. I wish I did. I wish I had that golf swing. You know what I don't wish I had? His record in the majors. He's won 1, but 1's better than none. Sam Burns, I felt bad for him. That ruling that he got. It's easy. I'm watching it in live time, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think he can drop from there. But somebody went out there, I think from one of the golf magazines, and stepped on that spot. And they said, man, he said, I would have gotten arrested if they didn't give me a drop. But anyway, it got in his head, obviously, and I felt bad. I like Sam Burns, good player too. And that was the thing. It was an interesting U.S. Open with a lot of guys you don't know, but, and Karen doesn't know either. She kept going, who's that? But she also got mad because everybody kept missing putts. And then the last one went in, and I went, how about that? How about 65 feet to win the U.S. Open? Is that okay? So she was excited. All right. Anyway, it was fun. I love the tournament. Let's get to number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is baseball. I want to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball because we need to talk about Major League Baseball because it's pretty much all we got the rest of the way. We do have the British Open coming up, but I was curious about this, and I don't look at the standings every day like most people used to. And the other day, by the way, I wanted to mention this because my wife bought a Sunday Gainesville Sun, because we were going to grill steaks out and we needed paper to light the chimney. That's the second time we've ever bought a Gainesville Sun since I retired. But, man, I'm looking through it, and it was kind of sad, to be honest with you. But it was still fun to read a newspaper, even if it was 2 days behind everything, and look at the stats and look at the how many games behind the Braves were. Of course, that was from 2 days ago. But anyway, I digressed. This was a good stat that I came up with. 70 games-ish for everybody. Everybody's played basically 70 games. Some have played 71. Some have played 69. Jeff Cardozo's favorite number. So at least 27 losses for every team. So that just tells you how even the great teams, it is a game of failure, right? We talk about that all the time. If you hit 300, you're considered a star. Guess what? That's 3 out of 10. If you lose 27 of your first 70 games, you're considered a great team. And these are the best teams. I'm saying that's the minimum. So it's just interesting to me about Major League Baseball and the grind that it is. It's an unbelievable grind, and you got to be ready for it. And we'll see, because I just saw where the Royals got swept after they brought Caglione up, and I'm like, hey, man, you're not going to have the bus rides, but there's still going to be a lot of losing going on. All right, that is our Royal Blues starting 5. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Coach Spurrier right after we take this break on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
No, growing up in Gainesville, definitely different, especially having the University of Florida there. It was basically like a dream of everybody's, growing up, to just have an opportunity to play at the University of Florida. So everybody doesn't have that, the opportunity to do so. So I just feel like me being able to give back to the city that helped me, become the player and the person I am today. It's like, why not just go back and give back? You just become a great person, not just a great athlete or not just a great, teacher or anything, just a great person in general, having those attributes and those type of characteristics just help people just become better people. So that's what I'm trying to do, help the youth just become great.
At Royal Blue, we use such tools as AI, bulk email marketing, trade shows, Google search advertising, and multiple websites. We take a much more proactive approach to getting your boat sold in a timely manner. With our extensive client list and broker-dealer network, we can track down vessels that might be perfect for you and your family, that may not even be listed for sale yet, giving you the right of first refusal. We have spent the last 15 years in boat sales, observing and listening to our clients. In response to our findings, we have constructed a custom yacht brokerage that strives to fit their needs and not ours. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294. Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, Meldon Law, also the sponsor of our segments with Coach Spurrier. He was on a cruise last week, Disney cruise, right?
Yeah, we put together a trip with, about 7 or 8 of our grandkids and our 2 daughters. And so anyway, it was a fun Disney cruise. I did most of my cruising on the boat. But, they have 2 places where you get out. You just go to the beach.
Oh, yeah. I've been on one of those, yeah.
One of them.
All right, Coach, I got to ask you, how was your Father's Day? Mine was great. I hope yours was
had
great.
an excellent Father's Day. My wife, Jerry, really prepares for events like that, birthdays and Father's Day and all that kind of stuff. So Steve Jr. is here in town now, an analyst with the Gators, and Billy Napier. So he brought almost half of his kids over. And so we watched the golf and swam around the pool a little bit and had a good time. Daughter Lisa was there also. So it was a nice Father's Day, yeah. Yeah,
it's great, and that is cool that you guys have been able to have the same kind of career in terms of being coaches, and you and Bubba.
Well, he coached with me for I think about 16 or 17 years, and he's and I met one of the quarterbacks, this kid from Jesuit.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can say their names now or not.
I can say it.
He's got another year in high school.
Yeah.
So he's not coming to, but he's
Will Griffin
early.
is his name.
That's his name. Yeah.
But I can say that because he has committed. So I can say it. Yeah.
Okay.
You maybe can't.
Yeah, I probably can. I mean, there's not many rules right now.
That's okay.
It's hard to break a rule. How do you break a rule?
That is impossible. Yeah.
Back in our day.
Well, we gave him money and we injected it into his veins.
Yeah, back in my day, you couldn't even announce that he's committed until after he signs.
Yeah.
So
we would call you up and say, "Hey, we heard this guy committed." He goes, "Can't talk about it. Sorry, can't do
rules. It." Yeah. We follow those rules. As perfectly as we possibly could.
That's the funny thing. Would you think it's better now? Would it be more fun to recruit now or back then when you did follow the rules and you knew people were breaking them?
Well, it was better back then because if you did get a commitment and the player signed with you, you felt like you had him for 4 years, 4 or 5 years. Now you got him basically for 1 year, although these new NIL rules coming out, most people think players will not be as quick to transfer now.
Yeah.
And I believe that too. So
I'm hoping for that,
Yeah, the money is supposed to be consistent, all the way around, but a player can still go do his own deal, which makes sense.
Right.
If he's a real hot shot and the guy wants to give him a whole bunch of money to advertise for him, then he's free to do that.
But that's what this commission is going to do is they're going to say, and Deloitte is involved in this, where they say, hey, look, you're giving him too much money. That is not what his worth is. And that is exactly what we've been screaming about all this time. Just make it so that everybody's on this level playing field as much as they can be.
As much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. But, all right, so I do want to talk to you, obviously, about the U.S. Open. We had a great time watching that yesterday. It was now, people talk about how amateurs couldn't shoot 130 there, and I'm like, come on, man. All you have to do, you hit it down the fairway. You just keep hitting 7 irons. You can make 7 on every hole. You can do that. But it was a lot of fun to watch that tournament. I had a great time. It's not for everybody because it was a golf tournament. It wasn't, just a party. It was a golf tournament.
Yeah, the winner obviously got off to a terrible start. What did he bogey 4 of the first 5, something like that?
He did.
And then
5 of the first 6, I think. He was 5 over, yeah.
And then he got it back together. And
after the rain delay, yeah. Shot 3 under after the rain delay.
He was really.
I like that guy.
Yeah, I like him too. He's a good player too.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Very low key. And
one thing I noticed on Friday when Phil Mickelson missed the cut by 1 shot. I mean, he's still a really good player, but he's almost just a lonely figure out there. Since he went on that Live tour. I mean, I don't even know if he's still married or what, but you never see his wife. Where you used to see the wives, sort of around the guys and so forth. And but anyway, he's lost 6 U.S. Opens by 1 shot. Runner-up 6 times. I know. And that's just didn't work out for him. But he's a good player, and I hope he's doing pretty good, doing well and all that.
Well, he's doing well financially. We know that because he went to the Live Tour. But that's the thing. Guys, I used to root for him in those.
Say you got all the money in the world. It doesn't make you happy. I mean, where's all of his buddies? Where's the guys he hugs after, this, that, and the other? And play on the Ryder Cup for the USA and things like that. So the Live guys, they're sort of in their own little world over there. They got plenty of money.
I know.
But I don't know. But that would.
I think they lose an edge though playing over there. They're like, if I finish last, I'm still going to make a lot of money. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah. I think when it comes down now, DeChambeau is the one exception because he is so wired so differently. Yeah.
He's a single guy, and every day he's just golf. For him.
Exactly.
Dustin Johnson did not make the cut, I think.
No.
And he won this tournament 10 years ago.
I know.
He won it in maybe it was 14 or 2014. He's a South Carolina guy and so forth. And his game, he still hits it about like he always does, but doesn't win like he used to. That's for sure.
My gut feeling is that most people that thought this was a great tournament are people like you and me who love golf and we care about it and we play it all the time. People that are just watching probably didn't like it. It was just nobody made a putt, nobody could do anything. They liked the end. The end was unbelievable.
And most of the guys competing are not famous guys. It wasn't Rory McIlroy.
Yep, I know.
They weren't in the hunt.
Scheffler kind of snuck into it a little bit.
Yeah, but not really. He didn't. He just had a bad week putting. And,
I know.
And it wasn't his week. Simple as that. So anyway.
Well, hey, one thing we do need to get to is our Campus USA play of the weekend. It is the putt, and it'll always be known as the putt.
Want to cozy it up. Don't need to make it. 2 putts.
All right, so that was a pretty good putt. I mean, I don't like you always want to be standing there with a putt to win the U.S. Open, but you're thinking I got to have a 2-putt to win the U.S. Open. Yeah. But how far would it have gone by the hole? Do you think? About 2 feet, maybe.
Yeah,
it had slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, it did not just die in the hole.
Yeah,
but it was a perfect putt. That's all you can say.
Yeah,
but. I'm sure he's happy he didn't have to hit another one.
No, exactly.
At that juncture of the thing. Another thing I noticed this weekend, unbelievable, the one guy, the survivor of that crash in India, one out of 270 people survived, and he was sitting in seat 11A. 11A.
Spurs number.
My number. And, I said, man, I'm going to try to get in seat 11 every time. But then, about 30 minutes later, Silver Airlines, which is out of Florida, Fort Lauderdale
Yeah.
area, I think is their airline. They're going busted. So they're filing for Chapter 11.
Yeah,
So
well-
that's the bad 11 to get to right there, Chapter
Well,
11.
11
Anyway,
is the best number.
that was the number.
Who's
anyway.
wearing 11 this year? I don't even know. Do you know?
You know,
I
I'm
can't
not
remember
sure.
who it is. Hey, I wanted to
this
talk
year.
about, before I let you go, about what a great recruiting weekend Florida had this week. And we talked about it in the first segment, but, and I know you gave a great speech. You told me off the air, and I'm going to share this, that you sometimes you're into it, sometimes you're not. This was one time you were really into it. You wanted to get
I'm
these
always
guys
into
here.
it, but sometimes I give my speech, motivational speech.
And it's about
blah, blah,
something
blah.
else, yeah.
And this time
Yeah.
I lean more into why I came to Florida.
Yeah.
And why, hopefully these guys will do it too. But I think the story everybody appreciated is that right before I decided where I wanted to go, I was sitting with my mom and dad, and I asked my dad, where you think I should go to college? He said, Alabama, play for Bear Bryant. And said, those guys winning championships all over the place, blah, blah, blah. So I asked my mom, she said, Georgia Tech, best academic school of all of these you're visiting. Mom, I'm not going to be an engineer, though. But anyway, I said, well, here's where I'm going. I'm going to the University of Florida because I love their coach, Ray Graves, and everything about going to Florida. And that the people up north back then, they were all trying to save their money to move to Florida.
Yeah.
Seems like now they're saving their money to move to Georgia and Alabama and still to the south, but
Yeah.
Florida's getting pretty crowded for a lot of them, I guess. But there's a lot of reasons why I came here, so hopefully some of those guys will see that. And the opportunity to live in Florida after
Yeah.
your days are over was something also.
Absolutely. And you talked about academics, too, and you made sure they understood that they were
You can
important.
graduate here. Yeah, our
Yeah.
graduation rate is much better than almost everybody else.
Yep. And, I mean, look, we know how great it is here. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's a lot of fun to be around here, even though we're at the end of all the college sports pretty much. So,
I want to give a shout out to the University of Georgia women's track team.
Yes.
First ever outdoor national championship. First ever.
That's good.
Something about first evers.
It is.
You gotta recognize
You're
it. Yeah.
you're all about first evers, and of
Yeah.
course I think they won it on the last, like some kind of shot put or something that they won. But anyway, I was looking up all that stuff because I was curious how Florida did. And they didn't do great. They finished 8th. Women finished 8th,
Okay.
and I don't know where the men finished. But I think this was a down year, but we'll see how that all goes. But anyway.
Yeah, it was.
All right. So anyway, let's. Anything else you want to talk about, Coach?
Oh, I believe that's it. We're basically heading into the middle of the summer now.
Talking season, baby.
Yeah, baseball, interesting. I tell you what, that Coastal Carolina team,
Yeah, they're good.
They're going. They may go all the way with it, but got to wait and see. Both of our SEC teams are still alive, right? LSU and Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas, I think, plays tonight to stay
Yeah.
alive. Yeah. So, did you ever talk to anybody about patenting talking season or just
No.
copywriting
I
it?
should have patented the swamp too.
Yeah,
But, I never got into all that. Patenting.
That would have been good though, because it is talking season. But we're going to talk a lot about college football going forward for the next couple of months. It's only a month away from SEC Media Days, so.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
Yep.
No
All right.
question.
We'll let Coach go. We'll be back with more of another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Coach, you know, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Robbie is at the beach, and you know who was at the beach last week was this guy, Jeff Cardozo, is going to do Yes, No, Where, maybe with me. You had your little vacation last week. Robbie's taking it this week. When do I get mine is what I'm asking.
Yeah, whenever. If you want me to go lower, I still got my Speedo on to show it off if you want.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see your junk. I can tell you that much. All right, so did you enjoy the U.S. Open?
It was good. Yeah, I was a little disappointed when the rain happened because I was like, man, my afternoon is going to be sit here and watching it, and then it ended up working out just fine. Crazy, all the carnage that it brought about. You almost feel bad for guys at times because having to go through all that, and I kind of wanted Adam Scott to win just to represent us old guys, our old guys in the mid 40s to do some damage, but. Hey, it was a cool story, and to start off that poorly and come back like that was pretty awesome for JJ.
Yeah, for my wife, I think he's a gilf, and you can just put the initials together and figure out what it is. But all right, let's play Yes, No, Where. Maybe it's brought to you by your good friend at Big Mill's Cheesesteak. I know that you love Big Mill's Cheesesteak.
I do love Big Mill's.
And Keith Miller. And if you go in there and say you listen to Jeff Cardozo do Yes, No, Where, maybe you can get free fries with your order at Big Mill's Cheesesteak. All right, let's go to number one for Jeff Cardozo. 301 yards for a par 3 is a little excessive.
For the common folk like you, yes. I think it'd be fun. So I guess it's a maybe. I think it just, certainly depends on who it is. I think for those guys, it's fun to see them have to bring out something that's different because they all hit their irons so well. So, I mean, normally a normal par 3 that's 170 to 200 or something like that is pretty easy for these guys to hit the green. But for them to have to figure it out and figure out a different club and, certainly the elements that played a factor into that later in the day, I thought it was fun. So it's a maybe depending on the audience. If that's out here at, Hawkstone or Turkey Creek or Ironwood or something, I think a lot of people would be throwing clubs like Rory, but maybe it would bounce right back to him.
He did throw a few clubs. It'd be driver 6 iron for me, I think,
Wow.
I might be able to make the putt though. So All right. Number 2 on yes, no way, or maybe. You appreciate Sully's work in the portal and has been very good.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of work to be done. So I would say yes. The unique part is last year, Florida's playing at this time during the portal.
Right.
And right as we were going to Clemson for the Super Regional, it was like, oh my gosh, we got to worry about beating Clemson. But we also got to worry about trying to get this kid or that kid and, what's happening in the portal. So I hate the timing. So that's certainly a thumbs down or a, no way. But I think it's certainly a yes for what Sully and the rest of that staff is doing. I remember, even talking to them when we were out there for the regional. It was, hey, the portal's about to open. Here's what we're going to try to go after.
Yeah.
Here's what we're looking at. And, one of the first guys that they were going to try to get was that catcher that they got from up in that Chicago area. So they've gotten a few of the guys they've wanted, and now we'll see if they have enough money to get the rest of them. I guess that's always going to be the key factor.
Right now, do you think he's the stud of the class, of the portal class, or is it the kid from
No,
JU,
I think the kid they actually got from JU is pretty good. Bastion, the outfielder. I think he's an elite guy. But again, you translate, can a guy go from playing at Jacksonville to now playing in the SEC, and the crowds are completely different, ballparks are different, atmosphere is different? I think that's the one question you always worry about. But it worked for a lot of other guys across the country, and you just hope they've picked and choose the right ones to go out and get. And they're good at judging character too, and whether or not they can handle this type of stage, and I think he can.
All right, finally, number 3 on yes, no, where, maybe, with the great Jeff Cardozo. If Coastal and LSU play in the national championship 3-game series, you'll be rooting for a tornado.
And lightning strikes and complete destruction, where they would have to sit there for 3 or 4 days. Yeah, that's that's what it looks like. And give credit to Coastal. Florida didn't get to play them, and I would have liked to have seen them in person. But listen, they're playing well. To win 25 straight games, you got to be doing something right. They can pitch, and they play clean baseball. And even in that game, they made the other team make the mistakes, and they were the ones that executed properly. And that's what you have to do when it's all said and done. So give them credit. I think you got to do that. We'll see what happens with LSU. They had Kate Anderson, so they've already blown their guy, but they've got 2 studs, similar to what the Gators had with Faedo and Singer when they won it in 2017. So we'll see. I'm still hoping for Arkansas or somebody else to come out of it, but I would probably not watch if that was the final.
No, I wouldn't either.
And how much of a college baseball fan I am.
I know. And by the way, you said blown your guy on the
Oh
record.
gosh,
I want that on the record. All right, I'll let you go, buddy. I'll see you today on the tailgate. We'll have a good time. We'll talk about a lot of fun things. Thanks a lot for joining us on Yes, No Way, or maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Okay, we appreciate Jeff for joining us on short notice, and Coach Spurrier, of course, for being here on long notice. But we love them coming on the show every Monday when they can. Robbie Andrew, I think, will be back next Monday. Let's get to our Hesser and Kipky 3 things. We appreciate our friends at Hesser and Kipky, attorneys at law, 352-339-9920, or www.hklawfl.com for all your workers' compensation and family law needs. Hesser and Kipke. Let's start with number 1, the biggest story that kind of burst on the scene this morning. Rafael Devers is been traded to San Francisco by the Red Sox. They just were fed up with him. I mean, his whole thing about he didn't want to play. They moved him off third. He didn't want to play first. And look, you're trying to win games. I'm not going to defend the Red Sox. I think maybe sometimes you have to treat players like prima donnas. Percy Irvin, for example. But, you've got to treat them differently. But that's certainly not a good – they got all these other players. Now I feel like – and this is right after the Red Sox swept the Yankees. Come on. What are you doing? This is – a team I do like, I care about, but now maybe I don't. He's going to the Giants. The thing about the Giants, though, they're going to have to inherit that huge contract. But by the time it's the end of it, I think he's going to be 35. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right, number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Big trade in the NBA, and blew people away. I'm not sure I understand why it's a big deal. Desmond Bain gets traded to the Magic. Good shooter. Has missed some games. I think he's missed 25 games the last 3 years. And they get like 4 first-round draft picks. Now, that doesn't say a lot about your drafting confidence, but maybe they're feeling like it's time right now. We've got Banchero, who's really good, and we need one more piece of this puzzle. I don't know that I see that the same way, but it certainly is a big deal as far as the NBA goes, and people are freaking out about it. Let's get to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, which is Shohei Ohtani is going to pitch tonight. We'll see how it all goes. Not just how it goes tonight, but we'll see how it goes going forward. Two-way player, and he, now San Francisco's made a move. Dodgers make a move. Guess what? That's not unusual. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's get to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week. And our sponges of the week, I should say, are all those volunteers at Oakmont at the U.S. Open. And, I mean, everybody thinks, it'd be great. You get to wear a polo shirt, which you have to buy, and walk around and be around all these great golfers. But you got to work, and especially these guys who had to spongy up all the water that was on the course and got it ready to play. I don't think Sam Burns feels they got it ready to play after that ruling he didn't get. But those volunteers are Gallo Car Wash sponges of the weekend, and we appreciate them. They matter to all kinds of tournaments around the country. Let's move along to our Los Landeros smooth move of the week, and that came in the discus at the NCAAs. It's smooth when you let that thing go, and it just and Los Landeros believes in it, and they believe you should go beyond. But the best, almost a Gator of the week, didn't quite make it, almost won it, but I'm gonna try to get the name right. Alita Van Dalen, I believe is her name. She finished second in the discus at the NCAAs, the highest finish ever for a Florida Gator discus thrower in men's or women's. Second place. That is not a place where Florida usually scores a lot of points. So that was a great win, or a great second place finish for her. And she gets a trophy. And she gets our Los Landeros smooth move of the week. Appreciate that. Let's get to our Hugh, Cain, Allstate Mayhem Moment. The Gator Nation is in good hands with local Allstate agent Hugh Cain. Stop by Alachua Marketplace Plaza in Alachua and get a free quote today. Hey, what is this? You can't imagine what this could be. If you watch the U.S. Open the whole way, you saw Noah Kent, the Florida golfer, who's going to be a Florida golfer next year, and he was not able to, or he drove the par 4 hole that was drivable, and he was the only player that did it. Anyway, so they're talking about Dudley Hart being the caddy, and then he goes, well, Dudley Hart's not there. What happened to Dudley Hart? Well, I'm worried about Dudley because he's a good friend of mine. And Brad Faxon came on and said, hey, he sent me a picture. He got bit by a spider. And so Dudley sent me the same picture, and this is the picture of Dudley's hand. It's nasty, man. It looks like he's in a lot of pain. I can tell you that. But, the thing is, he had to fly back when Noah Kemp didn't make the cut, and he was back recruiting. Sunday was the first day of recruiting for golf, so he was all over it. I know that. And Dudley, I hope his thumb comes around, but that is nasty, man. Woof. All right, that is our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem Moment. I had the Rory McIlroy breaking the tee box on there, but Rory didn't talk to the media again. I'm worried about that guy, man. He seems like he's freaking out. Let's get to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever, the weekend BMI TeleMed. Achieve and maintain. Call them at 727-383-1677. Despite the feast that my wife made for me this weekend, I think I'm okay. But you can, if you, in fact, I had somebody reach out to me on email and said they wanted the number and everything, and they wanted to get involved in the ability to use those semi-glutides to lose weight. I've done it. It's helped me. But anyway, our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend is Justin Hastings. You don't know who Justin Hastings is, do you? Zach, do you know who he is?
Can't say I do.
No. Rod, do you know who he is?
I don't.
No. Freddie? No. Nobody knows who he is. He is the only amateur who made the cut at the U.S. Open. He ended up shooting 15 over, but he's the only one. There were 15 amateurs, including 2 of our guys. I mentioned Noah Kent, who is going to be here. He's here now, but he's going to play next year. And then they had another kid who was an incoming freshman who didn't make the cut. But there was a great story about him. I can never say his name right, so I'm not going to bother. But I will know it soon. Anyway, so we gave Justin Hastings our BMI TeleMed Overachiever, only guy of the amateurs to make the cut. Let's move along to our Christine and Steve Wendig Gators 101, which is a new segment we're doing, and we appreciate them being a sponsor. Christine and Steve Wendig, who are big softball guys, or lady, woman, and guy, is the way that works. But anyway, we always want to give you a little bit of trivia, a Gators 101, and one thing I talked about doing with them, and I'm doing it today, is my favorite teams that didn't win at all at the University of Florida. And there were a lot of them that came close but didn't quite get over the hump. And the 2 I selected, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on this. One was the 2014 basketball team. Now, that team won 30 straight games. It was unbelievable. The way they were playing, and I covered that team every game, and going to Memphis, and that you can't not believe how hard that was to beat that Dayton team, which had a huge crowd advantage, and they won there. They get to the Final Four, but they lose in the Final Four. But I'll always love that team. Patrick Young sent me actually a really nice Father's Day greeting yesterday, and he, of course, a big part of that team, a good friend of mine. We'll get him on the podcast again soon. But that was one of my favorite teams, just because I couldn't believe. Because again, no NBA players on that team. They just kept winning games. And the other one was the 2009 softball team. And I know that Steve and Christine remember this, but I'm sitting there in the press box, and they're about to lose to Alabama, and that means they're going to come back like 6 hours later and play another game. And if they didn't, I would be done for the day. And I was so depressed watching that game. And guess what? They loaded the bases. I don't even remember how they loaded the bases. And then Allie Gardner comes up, who has been struggling all year, hits a homer to left, opposite field homer. And the girl, I can't remember who it was, she jumped over the fence trying to get the ball. Dog pile. Everybody's dogpiled, including the people in the concession stands, because they could go home. Now, they were going to have to stay, and I remember the young ladies telling me that like seven of them lost earrings because the dog pile was so ferocious. That was one of my favorite teams. Now, that team did not go on to win it all. They lost to Washington, of which Danielle Laurie was an unbelievable part of that team. Anyway, that is our Christine and Steve Wendig present Gators 101. Let's move along to our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend. And we love Adams. You know that. We love our ribs there. We love our Nana's fish bites on Fridays. We love everything about Adams Rib. Our Gator of the weekend, and I'm not going to say her name right, so I guess I'm going to just try. Seun Woo. Is that possible that I came close? She is a freshman at Florida this year. And played in some events, but trying to get ready. But she won the Florida State Amateur on Sunday, and it was they play match play once they get. It's like everything now in college golf or that level of golf. You play a lot of match play after you play stroke play. But she won. She got the trophy. She's the champion, Florida State Amateur champion, Seun Woo. And so we'll hope that she is going to be a big part. I tell you what, they're building a really interesting, talented team with Florida women's golf. Florida men's golf, we all know what JC's been able to do there. And they're doing that with one course in this town, really, that they can play. So I give them a lot of credit. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. And a lot of you got it right last week. I'm going to give this one to you. Do the Florida Panthers win the title on Tuesday night? Now, you've got to be in by Tuesday I think the game starts at 8. So if you got to have your pick in by then, and then you can qualify to win $25 at Leonardo's. So that'll be great. Panthers. They only have to win one game, and they're at home. You would think they could win, but they may not. It's been a weird series. Anyway, that's Tuesday night, so you got to have it in by Tuesday night. All right, our quarterback club. We want to talk about that. We piled up all these great speakers, including Billy Donovan. Everybody's so excited about the gala that's going to take place the night or the Tuesday before the college football opener for the Gators, the Long Island game. But also, they've done a great job, and they're going to continue to do a great job at the quarterback club. They're holding the date open for Laura Rutledge in July. Hopefully she comes, but if not, they're going to get Katie Turner, who is unbelievable when you listen to her speak. She's been great. All right, let's get to our swamp games of the weekend as we wrap things up today. Let's start with tonight, Indiana at Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's a 9.5-point favorite. If they have to play Thursday, it'll be Oklahoma. Well, they do have to play Thursday. Oklahoma City at Indiana. Both those games are 8:30 games on ABC. TNT tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock is the Edmonton at Florida game. I know the Panthers probably want to clinch it, but if they don't, they got to go back to Edmonton. And we could have the Vancouver riots all over again. I didn't even know that was a big deal. They did a 30 for 30 of that. I watched it last night about like 2011, I think it was. They lost the final and they rioted. I never heard about that. You don't hear about a lot of things that happen up there. Anyway, baseball, San Diego at L.A., the Dodgers, on TBS on Tuesday, 10:10. Now, Ohtani's pitching tonight, so he won't be pitching that game, but you get a chance to see him. Wednesday, Boston at Seattle, and that is on the MLB network. That's a 4:30 game if you want to watch that. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hopefully you enjoyed Coach Spurrier. I thought his stuff was really interesting, and his speech to the new recruits certainly hit home. We'll be back with another show on Thursday. Don't know who we're going to have for sure yet, but we'll get a guest on. We got a couple of lines in the water. For Zach and for me and for everybody else, everybody in the world, all the people that took involved, all our great sponsors. I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.